made that move, okay.
Hey! I create life! I know, right?
It's an abomination.
The juggernaut, bitch!
Welcome to Why Your Blockbuster Failed, a new series of videos I'm debuting on my channel. These videos will look into why a big blockbuster essentially failed, whether that would be critically, financially, or for any other reasons. But I guess those are the two only reasons. And I thought to kick things off for this new series, I would start with a fairly new released film which has vastly underperformed at the box office, whilst doing well critically, however, Birds of Prey and the emancipation of one Harley Quinn. Or is it Birds of Prey? No, wait, it's Harley Quinn : Birds of Prey. I don't know. But anyways, in this video we're going to be looking at why this blockbuster failed and perhaps how it could have been avoided. But firstly, what did I actually think of Harley Quinn: Birds of Prey? Now, I think the best possible compliment I could give Birds of Prey is it is a competent film. Whilst it is not the best superhero film I've ever seen, and it's not the worst, it's probably one of the better DCEU films, but the plot is very messy, the screenplay is not good, and the direction of the film is poor. The film has a non-linear storyline, and it jumps from different set pieces to different set pieces to establish backstory of the Birds of Prey, and this gimmick got very boring very quickly. I think the film should have been far more focused on Harley Quinn and her actually trying to become more of a solo character and move out of the Joker's shadow, but the film kept trying to focus on backstory of the Birds of Prey because obviously these characters had never been established in the DCEU. The film is saved though by the fantastic performances from Ewan McGregor as Black Mask and Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn. I think it is a real shame that they killed off Black Mask because I think it's a character they could use in future films as Ewan McGregor plays the character so well if it is deviating a bit from the source material. However, the film is competent, it's funny, it's got good action set pieces. I think the action scene where Harley Quinn goes through the police station is probably the best action set piece ever done in a DCEU film, but the screenplay obviously lets the film down a lot. There are lessons to be learned, but it's definitely one of the better DCEU films. So everyone by now knows the formula on how to calculate if a film has made a profit. You take the budget, times it by 2 for marketing costs, and that's what your film needs to make in order to break even. However, for big blockbusters such as Birds of Prey, they need to make more than double their budget in order to be a success. Variety has estimated, however, Birds of Prey need to make anywhere between $250 million and $300 million in order to break even. Birds of Prey had a budget of between $80 to $100 million, and as of 15th of March has made $199 million, meaning Birds of Prey will probably make a slight profit as it comes to the end of its cinematic run, but if you're to believe what Variety has said, has probably lost a lot of money. Currently, no film in the DCEU has failed to make more than double its budget, with Justice League being the lowest of these films making just 8% over budget. Birds of Prey is also the lowest grossing film of all DCEU films, but does benefit from having the lowest budget of all the DCEU films. Birds of Prey had an opening weekend of $33 million against a projected $50 million opening weekend. An opening of $33 million is the second lowest of any opening weekend DC film, with the lowest being Jonah Hex, which managed a measly $8 million. So no one is going to be breaking that record anytime soon. From these numbers, it's very likely Birds of Prey has lost or made a very minimal amount of profit. Either way you look at Birds of Prey is somewhat a flop. However, what caused such low numbers for a film which had a huge Hollywood star leading it and had already appeared in a previous film was also the first all-female team-up superhero film coming off the back of Suicide Squad. Whilst Suicide Squad was not a critical success, Margot Robbie's performance was one of the few positives taken from the film, managed to gross $700 million worldwide. It could be argued that Birds of Prey had everything going for it and was a surefire success.
It seemed like the good times would never end. But then, China happened.
Whilst the coronavirus has become a worldwide pandemic, closing a number of films left, right and centre, the virus was still in its early days, especially in Europe and America, so people weren't really feeling the effects. However, Harley Quinn had no release in China due to the outbreak, with China's box office receipts down from $200 million in January and February 2019 to just $31 million for the same period in 2020. The fact Harley Quinn had no release in China meant it truly had to be a success domestically, seriously harming its chances of being a success if it flopped in America. Then Birds of Prey had no chance. It didn't have China as a backup, where a lot of films are saved, Terminator Genesis coming to mind. It is harsh to say coronavirus is the reason Birds of Prey flopped, as the film had yet to have a Chinese release, but I'm sure it would have had one eventually, and the coronavirus was a contributing factor as to why Birds of Prey will probably never have a Chinese release. But it's not the biggest factor, as Suicide Squad was never released in China either, and that still managed over $700 million globally. So let's move on. The marketing of Birds of Prey was, in a word, lackluster. The trailers, whilst were not bad, never truly showcased Harley Quinn, her Birds of Prey, or why Black Mask had a grievance with the Birds of Prey. You didn't get a feeling for what the actual plot was. The marketing relied far too heavily on fan anticipation for a Harley Quinn film, and built-in fans gained from the Suicide Squad film released in 2016, which of course performed pretty well at the box office. What Warner Brothers failed to realise was anticipation for a Harley Quinn film was fairly low. Harley Quinn isn't exactly a massively popular character. She has been a successful character since she was introduced in the early 90s in the Batman cartoon, and is definitely an interesting character. However, being a fairly young character in the world of comics and superheroes, a huge fan base is not built in currently. Suicide Squad helped bring her to general audiences, however, Suicide Squad's critical failings didn't help Harley Quinn gain as much fan interest as the box office numbers for Suicide Squad might have suggested. Looking at the trailer views on YouTube on 21st of March, the first trailer stands at 25 million views, whilst the second trailer has only managed a lowly 12 million views. Compare that to the Joker final trailer, which now stands at a staggering 84 million views. Whilst YouTube trailer views are not a definitive measure of how effective your marketing is, it does however give an indication in the general interest surrounding the film. Harley Quinn Birds of Prey is a small story, but was made on a moderately high budget, and this inflation of the budget coupled with poor audience reception, Warner Brothers definitely miscalculated the marketing. I think this is where Warner Brothers have failed to realise with their cinematic universe. Due to the nature of how the DCEU limped into existence, with the current batch of films receiving a fairly mixed response from fans and critics, there is little to no fan anticipation for each new film of unknown characters. I mean, compare the fan hype between this and Black Panther? Well, that might be a little bit unfair, so how about a similar Marvel film which had literally no built-in fan base, had no previous film introducing them, and was a huge box office success? See what I mean? Marketing goes a long way. Whilst trailers for the first Guardians of the Galaxy gripped audiences' attention, everyone collectively shrugged their shoulders when Harley Quinn's film's first trailer came around. Now, I'm not saying the trailers were bad, more they were just bland and generic, and showcasing nothing really. Cinematic universes are the in thing at the moment, and it's very hard to release a film set in the cinematic universe very separate from the actual universe it is set in, unless you're the Joker or the Dark Knight trilogy. It's very hard to drum up fan anticipation of a film which really doesn't know its place in the universe it's set in. This is very evident. The DCEU doesn't know each film's place within its universe, thanks to Jared Leto's Joker not actually appearing in this film. If this was a Marvel film, you could bet your bottom dollar Jared Leto's Joker would be showing up, or he would just not be mentioned at all. And I think those are the definitive decisions DC need to make when making their films, instead of just briefly mentioning characters, either show them or never mention them. Now for me, this might be the biggest reason why Birds of Prey has managed to flop at the box office. An R rating is a very niche rating to give to a superhero film. Not many superhero films have actually ever been given an R rating and actually done well at the box office. However, R-rated superhero films have fared better recently, thanks to films such as Deadpool and Logan being massive winners at the box office thanks to the R rating. But then for every Hellboy and Logan, you get a Hellboy, which completely fails at the box office. An R rating is actually seen most of the time as a nail in the coffin for films, and seriously hampers a film's chances of doing well at the box office, and many studios will look to bring the rating down in order to avoid the R rating, in order to widen the audience which would be interested and see the film. Harley Quinn as a character doesn't really fit the R rating, but a Harley Quinn R-rated film could work, better compared to other characters, so it's not an impossible task. I think where the Birds of Prey film let itself down with the R rating is it was not worked into the marketing. Compared to highly successful films such as Logan and Deadpool, the rating of the film was a part of the trailers. The rating was a major part of these films and gave audiences an idea of what to expect and how this rating actually added to the story, whether it was the realism in Logan's case or the humour for Deadpool. Looking at Wonder Woman and Captain Marvel, two female-led superhero films which were monumentally successful, Birds of Prey had every chance of following suit, and what I think the film had working in its favour was the R rating, which set it apart from these two films and made it different for general audiences. It could have been seen as not just a new female-led superhero film, and it was something different, something engaging, but unfortunately the marketing did not lean into the rating. Another aspect is why R-rated films tend to not do particularly well is that not many R-rated films are made on a budget of $100 million, as it's an incredibly risky investment. When you're limiting such a huge number of moviegoers from seeing a film, it is going to make it much harder to make a profit on your film, especially when a large proportion of filmgoers are families. With an R rating, you're appealing to a very niche market, mainly young adults with no kids. If you're not appealing to this demographic, you'll find it very hard for your film to do well. Harley Quinn Birds of Prey didn't need to be R rated. The rating added 0 to the story and was not used in a creative way. To add that rating for me was jumping on the bandwagon of recent films that had managed to pull off the R rating. However, Logan and Deadpool made it a part of their story and used it in a creative, interesting manner. In fact, the R rating was the essence of these films, something Harley Quinn failed to realise. Take away the R rating from Birds of Prey and you have the same film. Take it away from Logan and Deadpool, you have a drastically different film, and that is the problem. The R rating was pointless and it wasn't what the character of Harley Quinn is all about. The use of the R rating for Birds of Prey was pointless and was just used in such an unneeded manner, and I think it seriously hampered what the film brought in at the box office. Probably the least likely reason Harley Quinn Birds of Prey failed, but what is the name of this film? Originally titled Birds of Prey open brackets and the Fantabulous Emancipation of One Harley Quinn close brackets, this title, whilst was interesting and creative, lacked any brand awareness. What I mean by this is that people are only really going to read the Birds of Prey part of the title, but no one really knows who the Birds of Prey are, so audiences aren't really going to care about a Birds of Prey film. However, audiences know Harley Quinn, and that's the name that should be front and centre, the marketable name. Warner Brothers changed the name of the film during release, which is a pretty unprecedented move. The title changed to Harley Quinn, Birds of Prey, but some places have it titled as Birds of Prey. It's actually a bizarre situation to be in that a film has around 3 titles, so the actual official title is not common knowledge. Warner Brothers changed the name in order to optimize SEO, which is search engine optimization. Googling Harley Quinn, your local cinema sessions might not have immediately popped up, since they're the 10th and 11th words of the film's original title, which could have seriously hampered audiences going to watch the film, as they may have felt the film was not actually being shown at their cinema. Not having Harley Quinn's name front and centre when she is the main character is a bizarre move, especially considering that Harley Quinn is an extremely popular character with major naming recognition, much like Wonder Woman, Batman, Superman and Joker. The decision to forego using her name in the first place baffled industry members. Whilst I don't think the name had a major impact on the film's box office takings, it definitely had some impact on the box office of Birds of Prey, or Harley Quinn, whatever it's called. It wouldn't have stopped die-hard fans going to see the film, but very general laid-back moviegoers probably didn't see the film because they couldn't find it and weren't that interested in searching around for it. And I think this all links back to marketing of the film. Well, there you have it, a conclusive video on why Harley Quinn Birds of Prey was a flop. Well, I mean, it wasn't a massive flop, but let's say disappointment. It is a shame DC's good run has come to an end. I mean, the good run lasted 2 films? Shazam then Joker, right? Aquaman doesn't count. That film was bad, and the fact it made $1 billion still perplexes me every day, and I've still yet to work out how it managed to make that amount at the global box office. But you know, I made a video on how it happens, so watch that I guess. Hopefully DC do learn some lessons from Birds of Prey, because for what it's worth, it is a good film. Not the best, but yeah, good. I would watch it again. Well, probably not. Actually, I would probably just watch a YouTube video with all Ewan McGregor's scenes as Black Mask. I mean, that would be a pretty good video actually, and I would enjoy that, and that would limit me watching the film from 2 hours to just a nice little 5-minute chunk. So yeah, let's say that. I'll watch Ewan McGregor as Black Mask. That's all I'll do. But DC have seemed to finally worked out how to make good films, which is a positive. It's just a shame they don't really know how to sell these films now, which is a whole new problem in itself. A Harley Quinn Birds of Prey film was a tricky film to sell. It's a character which has only been in one film, teaming up in a big superhero team which has zero brand recognition. So it was always going to be difficult to get people into cinemas. I just think their marketing was just so awful for this film that it didn't really help, and the R rating seriously hampered any chance they had. Mix that in with the coronavirus and then you have a recipe for disaster. So unfortunately, those are kind of the reasons why Birds of Prey failed, and that is basically the episode of why your blockbuster failed. I'm going to do this with a few other films, so please let me know if you do enjoy this type of video, and hopefully I'll see you soon. With the coronavirus, I'm going to be inside a lot, so I need something to do, so hopefully I'll be making a lot more videos. Anyways, thanks again. Bye bye.